Welcome back to Girl Talk. We're here at the Vinery, and this is a stained glass studio. We're going to chat with the owner a little bit later about some fabulous projects that you can do here. Lots of fun and creativity. We're going to keep your creative juices flowing because we've got Ashley Levy here. She's the owner of Mimosa Books and Gifts, and we learned so much from you when you join us. Thanks for being here.
Oh, absolutely. I love it.
I love the topic that we're chatting about today because it's finally starting to get warm out. We're ready to get outside and really create a sacred space outside. So This is something you can help us soak up some sunshine, but what are some ways that we can take our sacred space outdoors?
Well, I think the key here is just don't think one-dimensionally. So you want to think about, of course, the things that are going to be really aesthetically pleasing visually, but you want to think about incorporating things like scent and sound and just really kind of engaging all of your senses when you're taking this outside.
Smart, you're right. You think of the aesthetic component and how does it look, but that's a smart idea.
Right.
So give me some examples of how you could take some of these special sensory things or objects or examples that you have from the indoors to the outdoors and make that sacred space.
Well, of course, the most simple is on the visual kind of perspective, and you can do that with beautiful statuary. You can do that with the plants that you choose to surround yourself with. But if you're choosing something like sound, pick maybe a wind chime, or if that's a little bit too much for you, maybe a nice fountain so you can hear that natural water sound. Or for the scent, the fragrance that you're bringing outside to kind of create this full immersion experience, think about maybe bringing some incense or planting some really fragrant flowers.
That's such a good point. Are there things that we should be mindful of when we're picking these materials?
You know, the one thing you want to make sure of, especially when you're choosing something like statuary, is that it's made for outdoors. You don't want to put something that's wood because obviously, unless you're okay with that weathered look, you might have a little bit of an issue.
Right.
So there are great different like cement and stone and concrete type statues that you can put outside. So just making sure that it's weatherproof, especially for our tough Wisconsin winters if you're going to leave it out year round.
Right, absolutely.
Anything, thinking of that, is there anything that could affect your plantings, like materials that would be not good for the plantings, like metals or anything that would get into the ground?
There are. So when you're using something like old railroad ties or something like that, make sure that you're not using any kind of treated wood, especially if you're growing vegetables nearby.
Toxins to get into the ground.
Exactly.
That was a great question, maybe something I wouldn't have thought of. I'm picturing Janet right now. I wish she was in this segment because I know she likes her hanging baskets, and I can just picture her going, one more hanging basket will be nice, maybe just one more. But anyways, I want to talk a little bit about how to use your sacred space. Chat with us about that.
So once you've created this beautiful kind of outdoor sacred space, one great thing that you can do is meditate in it. You can take your yoga practice outside, which I love. You can do sun salutations actually out in the sun, so kind of nice that way. Or you can just spend some time with the kiddos outdoors.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. My kids like to come and help me garden a little bit. So what would be some things besides just my daughter likes to dig for worms. That's one thing she likes to do.
Of course she does. Tomboy.
Yeah. But that's a good little educational bit. You explain how the worms help the flowers grow and they go in and out and all that. But some other ways to get kids involved, what would you think?
So when I was little, my grandpa would take me on walks and he would tell me about all the different plants and trees and birds and insects, and it was so fun to learn all that stuff as a kid. But the other thing that I really, really love is create some activities that you can actually do along with your children and let them really be a part of. So one of our favorites at Mimosa is creating little fairy gardens. And this is super popular right now. Oh my gosh, it's so fun because you can do this actually in the garden itself. You can do it in a little planter, even if you don't have a yard. So you can really make this work for you. And I love adding some cute little elements like tiny succulents and things like that. You can even get perennial ones that will overwinter. But you can also add tiny statues and little patio furniture that's made for your fairies. And
Oh my goodness.
it's so cute.
It's like grown-up dollhouse play. I love it.
It seriously is, and it gives you an excuse to kind of get to be really creative and have some fun too. We made a few last summer. We made little pathways and all kind of cute things.
That's so
This is what's going to get you to garden finally.
I know.
You're going to want to do any
I didn't know I could
furniture.
have furniture for my fairies. This is so fun chatting with you. I appreciate it. These guys are fabulous over at Mimosa Books and Gifts too. They'll help you get your outdoor space perfectly ready for you to have a great little relaxing moment. Thanks, Ashley. We appreciate it. We've got more Girl Talk coming up after the break. We're here at the Vinery, and we'll be right back.